Welcome once again to this series of ICT lessons. Today I want to look at operators in MS Access and how they are used in data search. And we have a couple of them here. The first one is what we call the greater than sign. This one is very important because if you have a list of values and you want to know or you want to filter only the data which has a certain value or above, then you will have to use the greater than signs. For example, you can write here, maybe look for cells which is greater than 15,000. So with this symbol, it will help you to filter and get only the cells figures which are 15,000, which are above 15,000. And the other one is what we call the less than sign. The less than sign is also applied just like the greater than sign, except that now it will give us values less than a certain value you have specified. For example, if we can have maybe cells, can we look for cells figures which are less than 15,000? So it will only pick values which are less than 15,000, and anything which is 15,000 and more will not be shown in the result. The other one now is including the equal sign, and we see here we have greater than or equal to. So when I write cells, search for cells which are greater or equal to maybe 20,000, what do I mean? What I simply mean here is this 20,000 will be included in the result and anything above it. But anything which is less than 20,000 will not be included. The same concept will also apply here in the less than or equal to. If I have maybe I want to check student marks and I want marks which is 49 or less. So I will go and maybe search, tell it, can you search for marks which is less or equal to 49? Okay, so this one will only return 49 or anything lesser than 49. Then the other operator is like this. It is called not. You can use it by writing it just using the word not, or you can use these two symbols. It is just one symbol. So I can use this symbol to represent not, or I can just write it as word like this, not. And this one is used to exclude things. For example, I want all students who come from a certain city except maybe London. So in that case, I will just say here, can you check city for each student, but not London? So when you write here not London, it means all cities will be returned except the students who come from London will not be included. And you can as well write it using the symbol by just using these two symbols, greater than, and just write it like this. This is a not symbol, and it is also written like that. The other one is what we call between, maybe A and B. For example, I can say here, can you search for cells between, can you search for cells between 5,000, then you will put here and maybe 6,000. So it means it will be returning the sales figures which is 5,000 or above and which is 6,000 or below. That is how we apply the between and operator. Another last one now is the or, and this is also very helpful. For example, if you have a list of classrooms, of classes of students, and you only want students who are in class 5 and 6, and you don't want any other student, then you will use this. You will tell, for example, here, search for students in class 5 or 6. Class 5 or 6. So in this case, anybody who is not in class 5 or 6 will not be included in the result. And that is how these operators are used. I will do it practically so that you are able to understand how we can apply this concept in MS Access. Here on the desktop, I have a database file for the customers. I'm going ahead and double clicking this file so that I open it. So when this database file is open, you can see I have two tables. If I double click this one, I have a table for customers which is showing first name, last name, city, and even phone where this customer is coming from. So here I also have sales. Then for the sales, you can see this table for sales. There is a column for the customer ID. This column is there to represent the customers in this customer table. So these two columns, I will use them to create a relationship. This customer ID in the customer table and this customer ID in the sales table. I'm going to link them through the relationship. So I will go ahead here and show you how to relate this table so that I'm able to search them together. So I will click database tools, relationships, then I will simply add the two tables and close. Then I will simply look for which field is common. You can see here customer ID is common. So I will just drag customer ID to customer ID and click enforce referential integrity. Then I will click create. So you can see now these two tables are joined or they are now related. So I will go ahead and save here. Then I will close the relationship window. Now I will use the operators to create queries. The first one is I want a list of customers with balances which are 1,500 and above. And I want only specific columns to be returned as the result. I want customer ID, first name, item, which was sold to this customer. And I also want to balance and phone number of each customer so that I'm able to call these people. So the first thing when you want to search a database is to create a query. So I will click here, create, then query design. In the query design, you add your tables, the first one, then the second one, then I will close here. Now when I am here, I am free to choose which columns I want to return, which columns I want the result set to show. So I will specify them here. I want customer ID and I want customer name. I also want item this person bought, and I also want here the balance which this customer has, and finally I want phone number so that I'm able to call this customer. So when I run this query right now, you find that it shows me all the information about the customers and their balances, but I only want the balances which are 1500 or above. So I will switch back to the design view here and come back here in this row called criteria under balance. Criteria under balance, I will just write I want the balance which is greater or equal to 1500. So with this now it will not show everything. I will run it again. Now you can see all the balances which are shown here are 1500 or above. And I will go ahead and save this query as 1500 and above. 1500 and above, just like that. So I will go ahead and let me rename properly. Yes. So this query is now done. It is here. You can see. I can now close it. So in the future, even if more information will be added to the table and you run this query, it will give you an up-to-date list of balances which are 1500 and above. So I will go ahead again and go back to my create query design, and here I will add my two tables to be searched. Then I will just expand this so that all the columns are seen. I will go ahead. Now in the second query, I want customers from London with balances, okay? Only customers from London. And in that case, I will just double click customer ID, first name. I also want, of course, balance. Balance is here. And I also want city. Then phone number is very important to call somebody. So here I want customers from London. So I will first run this query, and you see it is showing all the cities, but I only want this London only. I don't want anybody who is not from London. So I will come back to design view, and under city I will want London. So I will just type here London, just like that. Then I will run. So when I run, you can see I have only people from London. Now I assuming I don't want it to show this column for the city, because I know these are people from London and I don't want it to repeat London, London, London like that. To do that, I will just go back to the design view, and now there is a icon here for the show. You see there is a row called show. Here if you uncheck like this, then it means the search will be done, but this column will not show. So if I run the query again, you can see now these are the people from London, although the column for the city is not shown, so that we don't have any repeating values. So I will go ahead and save this as London customers. London customers. Like that. Then I will just close. Next, I want to create another query, and this is I want all customers who are not from London with the balances of 1,000 and above. Okay, I want customers who are not from London and they have balances which are 1,000 and above. So I will just click query design, and here I will add my two tables just like that. Then I will come here and add my columns. I want ID, double click them, first name, then I want of course balance, and I want city, because I want people who are not from London, so I will have to add city here. Then I also want a phone number so that I'm able to call them. So remember, I have more than one condition. The first one, I want customers who are not from London. So I will just come to the criteria here and write here, not London, not London. You remember, not can be written like this, or you can still write it using the word not directly like this, depending on how you want it. You can write it that way or the other way. Okay, so let me just use the other one, that one, not from London. These quotation marks are inserted automatically by Access for you. So I want customers who are not from London. Then remember, I want balances which are greater than 1,000. So I will write here greater, under balance greater than 1,000. So I will go ahead and run this, and you can see here these are customers who are not from London and they have balances greater than 1,000. You can see here all these balances are above 1,000, and under city we don't have London here. So I will go ahead and save this and call it maybe not London, above 1,000, just like that. Finally, I want to show you using the between X and Y operator. And here, for example, I want those customers who bought things in the month of September only. So I will just come here, query design. Then in the query design, of course, I will add my two tables and be able to expand this so that I can see all the fields properly from the tables. Now I will want only customer ID, first name, and I also want item this person bought, and I also want the phone number, of course. Then I will go for supply date here, and in this supply date I want only people who bought in the month of the people who bought in the month of September only. So let me run it so that you can see first. You see, when I run this, it is showing me all the sales, all the dates we sold. But you see, I don't want June, I don't want July. I only want the one for September. So I will still come back to design view here, and under supply date here, I will have to use the between operator. So I will come under supply date, under criteria, below supply date, and just write here between, and of course September starts with first September, 1st Sep-20, and September ends with 30th. So I'll write here 30th Sep-20, and we put the dashes like that. So when I run this, you can see only September dates are generated here, no any other month. So I can now save this query and call it maybe September sales. Okay, and as simple as that. That is how we use queries. I will go ahead now and show you how to use the OR operator. Let me go to create, then choose query design, add my two tables. Now assuming I want customers from London or Birmingham, London or Birmingham only, and I only want customer ID, then their first name, then of course city and phone number, then finally maybe their balances. When I run this query, you can see it is listing all the customers, and now I only want sorry, we don't have Birmingham here, but let me use I want customers from London and Bristol only. London and Bristol. I don't want those ones from other regions. So I will just come back to my design. In my design here, there is an operator here. You can see it is written OR. This line is for OR. So I want London or Bristol. So I will come to criteria under city, and I will write here London or Bristol. Okay. So this is London or Bristol. So when I run this, you see I only have London and Bristol. I don't have any other city. This is how simple it is to use operators in MS Access Query. Thank you for participating. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.